Hey heroes, Zephyr here, and we are back in the creative world for some more Redstone circuitry. Unlike that one, which could technically be built in vanilla, save command blocks, this one is a bit more creative oriented in that there's a lot more command block usage. You could still technically do something like it but the purpose would be nil, I guess. So anyway. I'm just going to turn this thing on because most of it requires some explanation. Alright, so when we look at it, it is what would appear like a monstrosity, but this is actually fairly compact compared to, I think, probably what it would be otherwise. So anyway, the main thing that this is a team randomizer. It will determine basically how I've got it set up. Normally, this command block there would be detecting for players all over the place, and currently I've just got it set to when a player was within 5. Now as you can see, that clock is now going off and just repeating test A2. That was again because I didn't really want this thing going off and teleporting all over the place. Now when I leave, the whole device will shut down. So basically, what this does is this determines between two teams whether you're on one or the other in order to balance the teams before randomization. So, for example here, I'm on the blue team or I'm on the green team. Now those are the two teams that are being tested for right now. So if I turn this back on, I'm currently on the blue team, and this one here has a test for any player that is on the blue team. So for every player that's on the blue team, this will have a signal of 1. To a maximum, I've got it set here to 8, but technically you could do up to 16. Now basically what that does is every time one of these lights is on, for every member on the team, one of these repeaters turns on, which in turn technically turns off one of these torches. Now the opposite line to this one, which I'm going to go to the other side to show. Whoop. I got too close. I gotta turn it on again. Yeah. On the opposite side, we have this thing, which tests for every player that is not, according by this exclamation mark, on Team Green. So because I am on Team Blue right now, and I'm the only one in the world, the number of players not on Team Green is 1, which means that this torch turns off. Now because that torch turns off, this one turns on, which lights this row, which will then light this repeater, and take that off there. So this is actually a test A and test A2, which would be this one, assign a random person to Team Green, teleport all Team Green away from the testing area. So on the opposite side, we have, again, set as tests rather than that, assign a random player to Team Blue, teleport all Team Blue to area X or Y. Then you'll notice if I actually swap to Team Green, the whole thing will switch over, because now the device detects that I am on Team Green, and in turn, not on Team Blue. So I am detected as a player no longer on Team Blue, so I am not on Team Blue, which lights up this line, which allows a player to be chosen for Team Blue. Now, basically, between these two, they will determine how many players are on the map, and we'll just let that turn off. So, because if you are not on one team or the other, you will be assigned one of these lines regardless. So, if I'm on Team Blue, then I'll show up on the Team Green line. Actually, I could also assign myself to like a Team Red, but at which point both of these would turn off. It would determine that both of them are totally fine to be, are totally equal, and the device would cease to function. It's a little difficult for me to explain. Basically, because this is on, this bit is lit. It acknowledges that, hey, based on the total number of players on that line there are less players on Team Blue than there should be. So, again, if we had a maximum of, say, I don't really have room to add an additional redstone signal on it, but let's say we had 10 players total. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players total. Then, I've got this set to 8 or so. The basics of it is if there were, say, 8 players total. Exactly. Then this torch and all of these would be lit because there are 8 players total on the map and none of them are on Team Blue right now. Now, because none of them are on Team Blue's line will stay lit, and it will continue to whenever this clock goes. If I want to turn all this on again, whenever that clock goes, it will assign a player to Team Blue. Now, so long as there's space in both of them, so basically so long as this one does not hit its limit, it will continue to assign people to either team and balance it all out. I originally had also planned to have this done as just a direct green versus blue to detect number of players on either team. The problem became that if nobody was on Team Green and everyone was on Team Blue, there was no way for the game to say take a team. It could take a Team Blue, but there was no way to really balance it. With this, they can't go over the total number of players, and I'm currently working on a more or less a security feature. I want to hook this line up to a secondary bit as well that will basically stop someone from joining a team manually. So this is a team randomizer as well as freely able to add security that, depending on the number of players, again, if there were 8 players, it could only assign a maximum of 4 before this line would turn off and not allow anyone more to join Team Blue. In terms of the manual joining, all you'd need to do is connect this line to a repeating stop line for the manual selection, and then no one can manually select past a certain point. So it's really an interesting system, good for team randomization, and it also allows for manual team selection. And then, you have, for a server, say you go on with your friends, I could go on with Rifty, Caden Adams, who I'm working with here. We can be like, okay, we all want to be Marines, so the 3 of us can go hit the Be on Team Blue button, which would activate this clock as well. I'd have it hooked into the activation. Granted, I wouldn't have it teleport anybody. You'd have to have a second line for the teleport. Anyway, moving on. You could have us all assigned to Team Blue. We would go to, say, let's just say we fill up the team. So because we filled up the team slots, or up to 4, and there were more than 4 players, this line is off. This is off. It'll keep basically it keeps track of everything. For lack of better words, I'm terrible at explaining this device clearly, just because it's a little it's difficult to explain. Basically, it's a smart team picker. It will keep your teams random, but also still allow for the freedom of, hey, I came with my friends, can we all be on the same team? So it took a while to fully figure out how I wanted the system to work. It compares the number of players not on a team to the number of players on the team, and balances it out so that, in this particular case, I have a favor for the green team, but that's a good reason. This clock, on its first run, will always check the green team, then check the blue team. Check the green, check the blue, check the green, check the blue, check the green, check the blue. And the minute one of them is locked off, it'll be green, 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 or blue, 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 green, blue, green, blue. It's an interesting balancing system. I will leave the download link in the description, as I forgot to mention I put the timing one in there as well in the last video. I also fixed this because it turned out the math was wrong. I had too few items. I think it was only doing about 30 seconds. Now it should be up to a minute. I still need to do some testing one way or another, but the whole device still works. The only bit that I'm having with that circuit is I'm trying to think of a way that this circuit will give a consistent level of power. So I'm probably guessing through the command blocks, maybe have a secondary line out from them that will hook into more or less this repeater here. So if someone joins mid-game in the lobby, they can't turn on the timer, throw more people into the game. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad thing to throw more people into the game. The problem is it would restart this timer as well, which we don't want, because this one can technically be running 2 pulses at once, which is cool, but not good for multiplayering. But anyway, that's about all that I have to say right now. Till next time, this is just going to be Isaac Zephyr signing out. Download link will be in the description for this circuit, with the other one as well, because it will just be the test world. And I will see you all later, heroes.